guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Fitzgerald Hyundai in Clearwater, Florida, because guess what? We have the ultimate Veloster comparison for you. We're gonna take this 2020 Veloster Turbo Ultimate Package up against the new kid on the block when it comes to Veloster trim. This is the Veloster N. And what's awesome about it, these two cars are actually within hundreds of dollars of one another MSRP wise. So let's first talk a little bit about Hyundai history. Hyundai has been around since 1986 here in the United States. They sold a car called the Excel. You could either have it as a hatchback or a sedan. Over the years, things have changed. They widened their selection. They really have hit the nail on the head when it comes to SUVs, but one car that made its appearance all the way back in 2012 was the Veloster. And it was quirky because it had 3 doors instead of 2 or 4, and it had that hatchback design. Well, the Veloster has really come into its own. They have some great options, some great trim packages, and now an all-out performance package option. So let's go ahead, we're gonna dive into these two 2020 models and see how are they different and really which one is the best for you. So we'll start with this 2020 Veloster Turbo. The Turbo first made its appearance back in 2013. So it was a year after the standard Veloster came out. You could see that for this 2020 model, which was refreshed in 2018, full LED lighting. I love the daytime running lamp design. I also think it's great the way it's all blacked out inside the housing. You come down, you do have a fake vent here, and I am gonna zonk that. I don't know why they even put this here. Just paint it orange and even get rid of this little trim piece, but you do have a functional side air curtain, little bit of a lip extension here, lip spoiler extension, gloss black all the way across the front, and you have that open grille design. Now I know a lot of people say, well, hey, it looks like an Audi. Remember, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I think the design is a little different than Audi's, and it really gives some brand recognition to Hyundai, but I like this separate area down here and really great up onto the hood. You could see the design. We got people honking because they're Rady's Rides fans. What's up, guys? Nice design into the hood. From the last generation, which was the first generation Turbo, they got rid of the fake vents, and that really just cleaned up the whole hood. Now, when we look at the all-new N, now the N first came out just 2019. This is a 2020 model, so it's the second year. I like how it differs. Now, the headlight housing is gonna be the same, all full LED. If you look down low, they changed this up a little bit. Now, you do have this fake venting, and I am gonna zonk that, but I do like the dark gray plastic material here. Kind of gives a little bit of a color breakup, and you could see the massive air curtain that's gonna flow past the front wheels. On the N, specific to this model, is the bright red color, that extension here. This is all different to give extra downforce around the track, and this thing's gonna surprise you, I promise you. Now, the same grille opening, I like the addition of the silver. You can see how far the lower lip extension is, and then of course the N badge, that whole performance brand. You're gonna see this badge wind up on a lot of other vehicles, and it's different than if you have a Elantra GT N-Line. N-Line is more of an appearance package. They do mess with the suspension, upgrade it, but this N car is a true N car, and everything has changed. Same hood design as the Turbo, and that really helps that cohesive package to say, hey, these cars are related, but you know what? They're different. Let's go ahead and take a look at the sides of these two Velosters. All right, guys, time to check out the side of this 2020 Veloster Turbo. We come around the bend here. I love this body line. It starts on the front fascia, goes into the fender. These wheels are turbo specific for the Veloster. Now, this is an 18-inch wheel, so I like the gunmetal gray, the machine finish. It's almost like a spinning like star. It even has that orange trim that matches the color of the car. You can see the standard brake setup and everything, but this is an 18-inch wheel. It's gonna be 225 on the width, and this is a 40 series sidewall. As we continue down the side, gloss black on the mirrors. I like the slim and trim turn signal LEDs, blacked out A-pillars. Really cleans up the front of this car and the top, and it really gives it an interesting perspective proportion wise. I like the lower sill extension, how it comes out and it's gloss black. And then this one has a panoramic sunroof. And the great news is everything is blacked out. On some cars, they I don't know, they decide to just use the color of the rest of the car. It doesn't look right. Blacked out. Here's the magic with any Veloster is that third door accessibility. You can see how that bodywork comes up, and I like the way they put the turbo badging down there in that script. It's right off of a Porsche 911 Turbo, that original script. And as we come around to the rear, they really cleaned up the tail end of the business with this Veloster Turbo compared to the first generation. I really like the low roof spoiler. You can see how the corners are a little bit higher than the center, all blacked out. We come down, probably one of my favorite taillight designs in all of the car industry. I know that sounds crazy, but I like the full LED lighting. This one has the 1.6 turbo, and you'll see that that's gonna be different. You do have some faux vent here. I'm gonna zonk that. I wish they would have just left it painted. Gloss black to match it in with the front, rear diffuser, and then guess what? Different from last generation, do you see that? This exhaust is actually fully functional all the way back. If you had a first generation Veloster Turbo, the actual exhaust tips were just decorative. This is an actual functioning exhaust. I'm glad they went with the twin tip. I really think so clean, and it's gonna surprise you that this rear window, you may think it's like looking through a little peephole. It actually gives you pretty good visibility. Even things like where they hide the button to lift the hatch, it's hidden right underneath the windshield wiper blade area, but still very clean. Why don't we go ahead though, check out the side and back of that Veloster N. All right guys, time to check out the ultimate Hyundai vehicle at Fitzgerald's. This is the Veloster N. When we say N, we're talking about performance. You can see I really love what they did that separates this front fascia area on the side compared to the Turbo. That nice body line is there, and then feast your eyes on these wheels. This is part of a performance package, so you could actually get your N two different ways. This one has the performance package, so you're gonna get these 19-inch wheels, gloss black, machine finish, and you're getting the upgraded calipers with the N logo on there. That means you're gonna get bigger rotors, bigger calipers, larger diameter wheel, and these are actually wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires. That's gonna give you great grip, but also great reliability. Both of these are front wheel drive, and yes, both of these are technically turbos. That one's just called the Veloster Turbo. This is the N, because you'll see when we pop the hood. As we go down the side, the paint's been brought onto the mirrors, just like on the Veloster Turbo over there. Same turn signals, blacked out. A-pillars, even if you don't get one that's black, it's already blacked out. You can see the difference in the side sill extension. It's extended just a little bit further, and remember that red trim is part of the N branding. We work our way back. Look at the difference here. Look at how this kicks up. It's a little bit flared out. You got your N logo stamped in there. And then of course on the driver's side, you just have the single door. It's on the passenger side that you get the third door. As we come to the rear, loving the spoiler. This is probably one of the sexiest spoilers. You do have some faux carbon fiber. It looks good. I'm liking it. I'm not gonna put up an argument. The spoiler though, perfect height. Look at this third brake light. This is what I'm talking about. Creativity. It looks like a Formula One fog light, or when there's a rain race going on, they have this shining at the back of the Formula One car. Absolutely love it. This is fully functional too, not just for show. We drop down, everything else light-wise and hatch-wise is gonna be the same. There's your M badge, and you're gonna get a totally different exhaust with a different rear diffuser and the red badging. I am gonna fake this. All this extra venting is fake. I wish they would have just left it smooth. Why add a bunch of plastic? But wait until you hear us start this up. It's gonna sound like no Veloster you ever heard. But before we do that, let's pop the hoods of these two Velosters and see how similar and different they are. All right guys, we got the hoods popped on these two Velosters. Let's start with the Sunset Orange Veloster Turbo. What you're looking at is a 1.6 liter turbocharged inline four, 201 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. You get to have it your way in the Veloster Turbo. This one, you could choose a 6-speed manual or the 7-speed DCT that this actual model has. 28 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway. The car weighs about 2,987 pounds, 0 to 60, 6.5 seconds, quarter mile, 14.8. You know what? It's clean underneath, tasteful engine cover. You know it's a turbo, front wheel drive, and the great part is that you get to have a 6-speed or a 7-speed DCT. It's up to you. Let's go to the N. There we go, larger engine. So this is a 2-liter. You can see the change in the cover here with the N badging. The turbo is in the back portion near the firewall. I'll have Tom kind of zoom over there and show off the turbo, but what you're looking at is a 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine. Now remember how I said this one has the performance package? The performance package gives you bigger wheels, and you're gonna get more horsepower. 275 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. I hope you know how to dance with your twinkle toes, because you could only get this in a 6-speed manual transmission. Totally different 6-speed than the one that is offered in the Veloster Turbo. 0 to 60, 5.2 seconds, quarter mile at 13.9. It has adaptive dampers, which the Veloster Turbo does not have. It weighs in at 3,066 pounds, and MPGs 22 in the city, 28 in the highway. What can I say? This car is about performance at a great price. Both of these are at a great price, but why don't we get to the best part? Let's fire up these two Velosters and hear what they sound like. All right, guys, we're in the 2020 Veloster Turbo. We're gonna start with this one. I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, you know what? I've seen these cars around for a few years. I'm really starting to dig what Hyundai's doing. How much is this one? This Veloster Turbo featured in Sunset Orange with the Ultimate Package trim, which is the top trim. So this one is fully loaded for a Veloster Turbo and the 7-speed DCT. You're looking at a tick under $30,000. It's $29,000 and change. Let's see what you get for the money. Now on the Ultimate, the nice thing is you're gonna get a breakup of colors on the door panel. So you have this tan color with the darker black material, really brightens up the door. You're gonna get an infinity sound system that's optional. You could see the plastic pocket down there. The thing that I'm gonna zonk is that whole back portion of the door is hard as a rock. There's no soft material. Now as we come to the dash, hard as a rock. I do like the checkered flag pattern that's there. Here's more of that beige tan color. Everything is hard. I wish they would have used a little softer material. When we get to the infotainment system, it's that iPad style. It's really not too bad. It's not like the Toyotas where there's less material behind it. It feels very secure. 8-inch display, nice swipe feature, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. This one does have navigation, plus you could get into, like I show on so many other cars, you could get into your AC controls and everything. As we drop down, you got your nice start-stop button. I like the way they bring some red into the car. And then AC controls, no dual climate, so I am gonna zonk that. This is just a standard AC setup, but boy, look at this. 12-volt USBs, aux jack, USBs, and wireless charging pad. This is gonna control that 7-speed DCT. You do have heated seats, but no ventilated seats, so that's a zonk for being $30,000. You also have your different drive modes, sport, smart, and normal. Cup holders, here is your key fob. Obviously you would peel this sticker off to unveil the Hyundai logo, but very tasteful key fob. Good old-fashioned e-brake. This is all hard plastic, so I am gonna zonk that. And then you have like a rubber material on the armrest. You lift it up, and some good storage space, but no extra connectivity. All connectivity happens at the front. And then these seats are great. I love the design. They're light, so I'm not really gonna want them in my Veloster, but hey, some people like this lighter color. I do like the orange reddish striping in here to go with the dash striping and on the shifter there, but they're very, very supportive and comfortable. On this side, you do not have, there's no, as you can see, I have to pull manual controls. On the driver's side, same thing, manual controls. That's a zonk. Ultimate, I need some electric seats, and then you have that wonderful sunroof here. But why don't you get ahead, come on over and check out this business end of the Veloster Turbo. All right, guys, business end behind the wheel of this Veloster Turbo. One thing I want to point out on the door panel, I am just confused. I don't even know what else to say. It's all dark material. It's totally opposite of what's on the passenger side. And I guess they try to keep all this lighter color on the passenger side compared to the driver's side. To me, that doesn't make any sense. And all plastic is hard as a rock. Manual controls, which there should be some electric assist. I do like the seating position, and I love the steering wheel. Nice thickness. I love the perforated leather. The buttons are real easy to use, and they're not going to leave fingerprints, which is great. I even like how they have the flat silver. You have more of that orange-red trim. And then the gauge layout is so simple to understand and see. It's all LED backlit, so you have your tach, your speedometer, and then you have that information display in the center that you can go through. This has obviously lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, even a heads-up display, which is a really nice feature. For somebody 6 feet tall, plenty of headroom in here, which is great. And I even like how it's got brushed aluminum on the dev pedal and also the brake pedal and the throttle, which those obviously have stickers over them to protect it, which get peeled off when you buy it. But why don't we go ahead, since we're in this one, let's check out the back seat. All right, guys, one of the coolest parts about the Veloster is getting into that back seat, because this has a third door, and a lot of times people don't even realize it. Here's another fun fact. Would you believe that the models that are sold in countries like England and Australia, they actually build a totally different frame, because obviously they drive on the opposite side of the road in those countries, so they flip everything. It's not the same frame, but to get into the back seat, you just lift right here on the handle, nice wide open, you slip on in, and you know what? For 6 feet tall, you may think I'm crouching, but I'm not. Now this does curve down, but I actually have plenty of headroom back here, which is shocking. Seats are very nice and comfortable, and I like the angle that I'm on. Would I want to drive back here forever? No. One thing I do want to point out is I am going to zonk. There is no technology back here, so I would like a USB jack or even a 12 volt. But other than that, very smart engineering with this third door. Let's go ahead and check out the cargo space. All right, guys, time to check out that cargo area. The great news is, like I showed you earlier, they hid the button, and on a hatchback, I like the accessibility. So you have a great amount of space with the seats up. These seats, very easy. You just lift and they fold right down. Let me go ahead and do the other side to give you an idea of what we're working with. Now, obviously, the driver's seat is a little far back. I had a little far back, so I got to move it to fold down the rear, but you can see the amount of room. And I like the way it's higher in the back, because that's going to stop things from rolling out. Very usable, versatile car, especially the Ultimate package. You're going to get some nice amenities, and you're going to get some great MPGs. Let's go ahead, though. Let's go and check out the N. All right, guys, we're inside the 2020 Veloster N. I know you're probably saying, well, Joe, I already know I want the hopped up version of the Veloster. How much is this? It's right at $30,299, MSRP, of course. Let's see what you get. What are you gaining? What are you giving up? To the door panels. So door panels are exactly the same, but the nice thing is you're going to have matching door panels in the end. It's all very hard plastic, just like the Turbo, but you're not getting that lighter tan color because of the Ultimate. You do get the Infinity sound system. As we come in, my number one zonk is just the hard material, just like in the Turbo over there. You do get that same wonderful 8-inch infotainment system, but here's what you're getting is N mode. No navigation, but you do get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and then you could go in here and get all sorts of information in N mode: performance timer, turbo boost gauge, torque gauge, power gauge, G-force meter. Really nicely placed. Very, very similar radio controls and AC controls. What's different is if you look where the start stop button is, everything is in that light blue color. That is the color of the N Performance brand. You get all that great connectivity as the Turbo. One thing you're giving up is wireless charging. So you get the N mode, you lose navigation, and you lose the wireless charging, but you're getting this N mode. This is another thing you're getting. Only manual transmission, nice, slick shifting. Throws are pretty short, and you know what? The engagement is very, very crisp. I like the N logo on the shift knob. Another thing is let me show you, since we're on this side, you do have your drive modes. So you got Sport, and you got Eco, and you have Normal. What you do have in here that you don't have in the Turbo is the N button. So you press that, and that's when you go into full N mode. all the suspension. It's gonna change the parameters of operation. The engine's gonna change. 275 horsepower, 201 horsepower, 275 horsepower. I know which way I'm going. You get a N specific key fob, so I'm happy to see that from Hyundai. Very similar, but just that N badge makes all the difference. You can shut off your traction control. Everything else here is exactly the same, even the armrest, same storage space. Seats are different. They're full cloth. I wish they had some leather components to it, but I do like the texture, the blue stitch work, and then of course to finish it off, you gotta have the N Performance blue seat belts. No matter what color you get, you're gonna get that. This, you're giving up a sunroof. So these are, you're gaining some things, you're giving some things up. It's all depending on what you want out of your Veloster. Get on over here because I want to show you the business end of this Veloster N. All right guys, business end. Just like over in the Veloster Turbo, same amount of room. Everything is manual control. I do like the addition of the brushed aluminum sill panels with the N badging, even the same brushed aluminum dead pedal. Of course, you're getting 3 pedals in here because it's only a manual transmission. Love the steering wheel. Different style steering wheel. The blue stitching, these blue buttons, drive mode, and this is for the N mode. I even like the N badging on the steering wheel. A little bit of gloss black, looks great. And then the instrumentation is spot on. You have the N gauge with your tachometer there, coolant gauge, everything's analog fuel, and speedometer, and then you could go through the information in the center. Look at that, you could get all of that information right smack dab in the center. Really loving it. No heads up display, so you're giving up the heads up display, but boy, what you're getting instead of that is that sound of a engine that produces 275 horsepower. We've already covered back seat, we've already covered cargo in the other room. This is exactly the same as in the end. Let's get to the best part. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take these two for a spin. All right, guys, we're gonna start off in the 2020 Veloster Turbo. This one is the ultimate trim package, fully loaded. I like from the interior right off the bat, you get a nice little grumble from the exhaust. Having the heads-up display allows you to see your speed so much easier. And you know what? As you're driving down the road and you're feeling the steering wheel and whatnot, you kind of forget about the materials that really make up the rest of the interior. Everything is easy to get to. Getting to the infotainment system. You got your AC controls, plenty of room down here. I mean, I could take my phone right now, which I'll go ahead and pull out of my pocket here, place it right down on the charging pad, and it's gonna start charging. Look at that, 1, 2, 3. I like that. This one has the 7-speed DCT. I wish it had dual climate, especially if you're married, you would understand where I'm going with that. It's nice to be able to set the 2 different temperatures. You got the plastic paddles on the back of the steering wheel, where we're gonna go ahead and put this in manual mode. Right now it's a little traffic heavy, but we will get through this together, I promise. Armrests are on the hard side, so if you're used to putting your arms on the armrest, it is on the harder side. I do like the leather boot around the shifter though, and that infotainment system is actually perfectly placed. You know, I've seen a lot of other cars where it sticks up too high. That one is nicely placed, and I like the sunroof in here too. It's like a sunroof and a half, which is really great. But with 201 horsepower, remember, a new thing as well with this generation Veloster compared to the outgoing generation, you have a multi-link rear suspension. That means that your Veloster is going to handle a million, trillion, bazillion times better than the old generation, especially if you happen to live in an area where you had those twisty bits and you could turn up the wick and start to really carve some corners. Guys, I have the gearbox in manual shift mode. What's cool is once you put in a manual shift mode on the heads-up display, you actually have your tachometer and your speedometer there, which is really great, and a gear indicator. Of course, this also has lane keep assist and blind spot monitoring on throttle. Wow, it is surprising how quickly you turn up the wick in this thing with the DCT. The shifts are on the fast side. Now, are they as fast as, say, a DCT in a McLaren? No, but the upshifts are a little bit slower than the downshifts. Downshifts are actually really quick. I love the sound though that's coming into this car. Really, really gives it a nice sporty feel. If you're worried about the bolstering on the seats, they're very comfortable, supportive, not a lot of bolstering. So I really think that if you're going more for the one that has the extra tech pieces to it and the more comfortable ride, the Turbo kind of puts the two together. And I really applaud Hyundai for making so many different variations of the Veloster to cover everybody's lifestyle, which is great. So first gear, pulling out on throttle. Nice, you know, I'm getting good feedback from the wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport mode, which is gonna actually change some of the parameters of the running of the engine, the feel of the steering. The steering, I'm telling you, as soon as I put it into sport mode, I can feel the weight. It increases just a little bit, nothing too bad. You're not gonna get Popeye forearms, but it does have a little extra weight to help you feel engaged with those front wheels. Because remember, front wheel drive car, it's driving us, it's driving the car, but it's also steering as well. It's good to have that balanced feedback. But let me drop it down a gear on the throttle. Really nice. It has a nice smooth power delivery. You're not waiting for the boost. 1.6 liter. Love the gauge layout. You really do forget about everything else that I talked about that was a zonk when you're driving this car. That's the nice thing. It's a driver's car, and I like that. Plus, they just look cool. I mean, this thing actually is pretty fun to drive, to be honest with you. Great feeling from the steering. Holds the line really well. Look at that. Even over the bumps, brakes feel good. Downshift, very nice. Helps with the smooth downshifts. It really helps balance the chassis so you're not wallowing all over the place, which is great. That's something you don't want. You could autocross this car very, very easily. Brake, good feedback from the brake pedal. Very nice. Here we go. We're gonna pull out and head back to Fitzgerald's here to get the Veloster N on throttle as we pass this car. Very nicely done. Super smooth. The ride is nice in here. Plus you're gonna get all that space from the cargo area, and you got that third row accessibility. You know, that's one of the biggest pains in the butts is if you have a two-door car and you want to get somebody in the back, you gotta move the whole seat. With that third door, you never have to touch the seat, which is great. But we'll go ahead. Hopefully this gave you a great overall feel. We're gonna get in the Veloster N and see how that one goes. All right guys, what's up? We're in the Veloster N. Every time I get into one of these, I get a huge smile on my face. So fun to drive, so easy to drive, and the sounds are amazing. Now what's cool is, right above the instrumentation, you have Formula One style shift lights. You can feel that extra horsepower. We're talking about not 10 extra horsepower, not 5 extra horsepower. We're talking about 74 more horsepower than the Veloster Turbo Ultimate package. Now remember, you are giving up some stuff for that. There's no navigation in here. You don't have heated seats. They're not leather. So really it's up to you. You don't have the wireless cell phone charging pad. You don't have the sunroof, but what you do have is performance. Active dampers that you could change. You have that active exhaust. You got all different modes, all different ways to configure it to your driving style. Plus the sound coming out of the back of this car is so rally car-esque. Even though this isn't a rally car or based off of a rally car, it makes all the right sounds. Seats have some great support. Nothing too tight though. So if you're wondering, am I gonna get squeezed played in here? No, you're really not. What's also great is you have automatic blipping of the throttle as you downshift. So you have that auto match, rev match downshifting. So if you don't know how to heel toe downshift, the car does it for you when you go from gear to gear. I like that. It's nice to have that. And the great news is you can shut it off if you don't want to use it. But increased brakes, the rotors in here are well over 13-inch rotors. They're around 13.6 inches, much larger than on that Turbo Ultimate package. Very smooth though, the power delivery. You're not waiting a long time for the boost. When you change the parameters, it changes the throttle, the steering, everything is heightened. You feel more locked into, more engaged into the driving experience of this car. Even in traffic, very smooth, very comfortable. And I'm telling you, if you're new to manual transmissions, this one is a breeze to drive. It really is. And if you need to learn, call me up, bring over your Veloster N, I'll teach you. No problem with that. We just do it on your car, not my car. But let's go ahead and see how these brakes are a little bit. We're gonna make a right-hand turn here. On the brakes, nice. Downshift, it pops, the bangs, it makes all the noises you want, all the right noises. Steering feel is really, it's nice and tight. It's got a nice heft to it, but it's not too heavy. Let me go ahead and do a little bit of acceleration test here. So we're gonna do like a slow roll, 5 miles an hour, let the clutch out, first gear, here we go. Little bit of wheel hop, little bit of chirp, never hurt anybody. Really nice, I'm telling you. You just see that tachometer just hit, and you need to be on it to shift. Very nicely done, and like I said, watch this. We're gonna go from 5th to 4th. Does the blipping for you. I really think that's super smart in this car. Boy, you can feel the extra power. I know where I'm putting my money. My money's on the N. If you need the leather interior, you want the tech, hey, it's there for you. I'm not gonna argue with that. It's got the DCT transmission, but boy, that sound it's second to none. It really is for an inline 4 turbocharged engine. I really think it sounds better than my Focus RS I used to have, for sure. Look at that, you hear that? Oh, love the placement of the brake pedal and the throttle. We're gonna roll on out here. Here we go. Nice, watch this, here we go. Freaking A, I love it. Pops, the bangs, holds the line so nicely. Really, really great. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now over some of the tarmac that's a little bit more rough, it is a little bouncy, but it's not pogo stick bouncy. It takes a hit and then you go. So you have the dampers have the perfect amount of rebound and whatnot to it, so it's really going to help with that overall driving feel for the compression and the rebound, and just keeps you planted. Even though it's front wheel drive, you still feel planted. I'm not getting torque steer from the front of this car. I really am not. Let me go ahead and slow down again, just to prove a point. I love proving points. God, that sound, wow. But here we go. So I'm gonna let go of the steering wheel on throttle. Stays nice and straight, I'm telling you. Really, really nice. Unbelievable how smooth it is. And I'm telling you, that first to second, and here's the thing, compared to the Type R guys, between you and I, no rev hang. So that means when you get out the throttle, it doesn't hold for a while and then it drops. It's like you're out and it's dropping, as it should be. But really, really nice. I mean, this thing is just a blast to drive. Holds the line so well. Look at this. God, the sound. I could do that all day long. But obviously I can't. I got to get back to Fitzgerald's. But just been a wonderful experience. I'm glad I'm able to share this comparison. Hopefully it gives you a little insight that not all Veloster turbos are created equal. This technically is a Veloster Turbo, but it's the N 2-liter inline 4 turbocharged engine. Just driving around, really, really smooth. Visibility is great out the front. Like I said, even out that back window, a lot of people think it's going to be looking like through a periscope on a submarine. It really isn't. It's got a clear view out the back. And then of course you can adjust the parameters of however your drive is. Right now I have it in full N mode, so I am going to have the stiffer suspension and whatnot, and it's going to feel real good. And that's what I want. But you know what? If you want it a little bit more comfy, you can do that as well. That's the great thing of this Veloster N compared to the Turbo. But we're gonna go ahead, wrap this one up, get back to Fitzgerald's. I gotta give the key fob back, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been an amazing time with these two Velosters. Which way should you go? It's really up to your lifestyle. The best part is, at least you have options. And at the end of the day, you kind of shoehorned yourself. If you don't know how to drive manual, you'll have to go with the Veloster Turbo. But it's really a give and take, just like anything else in life, and just like I learned in economics class, there's always an opportunity cost. But really, either way you go, Hyundai is bringing a lot for a great price. And I really think if they just do a few tweaks here and there, they'd have something that is a grand slam, all the way, home run winner. But really, I'm ready to take this Veloster N home right now. But if these are the types of things you like to see on Rady's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. Definitely got to thank Rob and the rest of the crew here at Fitzgerald's for getting us access to not just one, but two Velosters for this particular review. If you are new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rise family. Make sure if you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description, get yourself some Ladies Rise merch. Got to give it up to Big Guns McGee, Tom Moschner, working his guns, getting these 2 Velosters in. He's ready for his next competition, and he's already dreaming of getting his Chevelle. He wants a 1968 Chevelle. If anybody has any suggestions, email him or email me. If you want to give him one, he's ready for it as well. But thank you for your hard work, Tom, and just like always, I'll see you on the next ride.